afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Cherokee Village Suburban Improvement District #1 Special Commissioners Meeting, convening at 3:30 p.m. on August 12th, 2026. This meeting is called to order. Mike, will you call the roll to establish quorum?
Stephen Orwitz, present. Michael Myers, present. Brent Hunstead, present. Susan Jett, present. Tony Stallsmith,
Present.
With all 5 commissioners here, we have established a quorum today. Next item on the agenda is very simple. It's the approval of today's agenda. Any questions, comments, concerns by any of my fellow commissioners? Seeing as how there are none, the meeting stands approved for the agenda. And we don't have any minutes to approve today, so we're going to skip right over that. And we're going to go ahead and proceed right into new business. And as you are all aware, the new business is our proposed settlement agreement that we're going to talk about today. Testing. I'm going to read a not so short statement that will clarify 99% of your questions. So please absorb. When this is all done, this will be posted on our website later on tonight. Is that correct, Michael? Okay. So here we go. Fellow property owners, neighbors, ladies and gentlemen, as many of you know, the Cherokee Village Suburban Improvement District, our district, has been facing a lawsuit that has posed a serious threat to its continued existence. The suit was filed in November 2025 by 2 members of this community. It asks the courts to treat millions of dollars collected from property owners as unlawful. The central issue is not that the amounts assessed were calculated incorrectly. The case is built primarily on allegations that the district did not follow certain required procedures, formal steps about how annual levies were adopted, noticed, documented, and reported. In everyday terms, this has been a fight over whether the right steps and paperwork were followed, not a claim that the underlying charges were the wrong amounts. The lawsuit has been aggressively litigated from the start. The district has already spent about $100,000 in legal fees defending it. That is not an abstract number. It is money that otherwise helps pay employees, vendors, maintenance, and the ordinary work of keeping the village operating. The questions in the case are complicated and legally dense. They are important issues, and they have required the district to spend public money while the uncertainty continues. We have defended the district in the litigation vigorously, and we take the allegations seriously. As stewards of your money, we have to ask a practical question. What is the cost of continuing? What is the risk of an adverse ruling? And what would the consequences be for the community? We have also discussed those questions extensively with our attorneys. The arguments concerning the merits and risks of our positions can be referenced to the court papers filed. But the economics of this case need some explanation. An adverse judgment against the CVSID would have reached in the millions of dollars, thus bankrupting the CVSID and requiring it to cut back services and even shut down amenities. This would have surely led to a rapid decline in property values. Further, this case presented a risk that the monies received from the counties for this past tax year would have been frozen for the remainder of the case, that is, until a trial happens. And a trial could take years to reach, and an appeal would add more years. Responsible leadership requires us to consider not just the arguments in a courtroom, but to measure the district's potential liability and exposure, and whether a rational economic solution could end the litigation sooner rather than later. The district's assessment revenue is not money sitting in a vault. It pays for day-to-day operations and maintenance. Our lakes, dams, dam safety, obligations, golf courses, parks, and recreational facilities, employees, and vendors. If those funds were frozen or lost during years of litigation and appeals, Bills would still arrive while the money to pay them would not. Maintenance would be deferred. Safety work could be delayed. Services and facilities could deteriorate. The practical worst case was insolvency or bankruptcy for the district, followed by loss of the county funding stream that supports this community. We will be candid with you. This case could have very well put the district in real jeopardy. Settling is a prudent business decision to end the cost, risk, and uncertainty of this litigation while protecting the district's ability to operate and serve the community. There is a larger point too. Cherokee Village is not an isolated line item on the district's balance sheet. It is a major population and spending center for northern Sharp County. People who live here spend money in Ash Flat, Hardy, Highland, and communities beyond them. They support local jobs and merchants, banks, contractors, healthcare providers, and sales tax revenue. The health of the community affects the health of the surrounding region, including people who do not own property inside the district. A financially crippled district would not necessarily disappear overnight. The danger is a slow decline. Repairs put off, dams and other facilities kept one more season on a shoestring, parks and courses losing quality, and vendors and employees no longer able to count on timely payment. As the community's condition declines, property values can fall, buyers can look elsewhere, and residents can decide to leave. That in turn puts pressure on the Highland School District and on the businesses and public services that rely on a stable population. On July 17th, the district commissioners, the plaintiffs, and Sharp and Fulton counties participated in a court-ordered mediation to see if a rational economic solution could be achieved to settle the case. The parties reached settlement terms. Those terms are frustrating to accept on a personal level, and some of them are maddening. But the board's judgment is that accepting them is in the best interest of CVSID and the people who depend on it. Today's purpose is to educate the public before taking a public ratification vote. I will walk through the terms in plain English, including what they mean for property owners and for the district. After that explanation, the Commission will take a public vote to ratify the terms already agreed to. With that context, here are the settlement terms. We will describe them as they were negotiated and as they will be presented to the court for approval. These details remain subject to Judge Meyer's consideration and approval. To the extent that any of these terms could be read as inconsistent with the term sheet the parties completed at mediation, other than the paragraph addressing the county's obligations, I want to be clear that the term sheet controls. My aim here is simply to express these points in a more straightforward, human way, but the term sheet contains the formal language drafted by the lawyers and the mediator and remains the governing document at this juncture. The first term is a single consolidated payment of $470,000 to the plaintiff's side. That is, class counsel and the named plaintiffs together. It will be paid in 2 equal installments of $235,000. The first installment is due within 30 days after the court enters the settlement order. The second is due 1 year after the first installment. This is the total consolidated payment described in the mediated terms. It is not two separate $470,000 payments. How that payment is divided between class counsel and the named plaintiffs are to be determined by themselves and subject to the court's order. While it is not ideal to be making these payments, we have determined through careful review that the district can make this payment without it presenting a material danger to our budget. Second, the settlement gives covered property owners a real financial benefit, and I want to take a moment to explain exactly how that works, because the mechanics matter. Every year, each property owner pays 10% of the original assessed benefit on their property, what we call the SBAB. That annual payment amount does not change under this settlement. What changes is how that payment is divided between interest and principal. Under the prior calculation, the district treated an amount equal to 6% of the owner's remaining unpaid balance as interest. Only what was left over after that interest portion actually reduced the principal, the amount you still owe. Under the settlement for tax years 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026, the interest portion is recalculated at 3% instead of 6%. Since the payment stays the same, but less of it goes to interest, more of every dollar you've already paid gets applied to your principal. Your balance goes down faster. Let me give you a simple example using a common lot size with an assessed benefit of $5,400. At 10%, the annual payment is $540. Say the remaining balance at the start of the year is $5,184. Under the old 6% calculation, the interest portion of that payment would be about $311. That is 6% of $5,184, and only the remaining $229 would reduce the principal. Under the settlement's 3% calculation, the interest portion drops to about $155. That is 3% of $5,184, and $385 goes to principal instead. That is an extra $156 applied to principal in a single year on that one lot. And it compounds because the balance shrinks faster, so the next year's interest portion is even smaller. There is one more thing to know about this term. Under the settlement, any class member who chooses to do so may waive these credits by filling out a voluntary payment declaration form. That form will be available on the CBSID website and at the CBSID office. If you fill out this form, you are declaring that your past assessment payments were made voluntarily, and you will not receive the interest recalculation credits or any other monetary benefit from the settlement. The form does not remove you from being a class member. You are still bound by the settlement's terms, but it does remove your payments from any credits or refunds the court may approve. Why would someone choose to do that? Some property owners may feel that keeping their full assessment dollars working inside the district, funding lakes, golf courses, dams, parks, and the services that protect property values is more important to them than receiving a credit. They may view the settlement credits as money that ultimately comes out of the district's operating revenue, and they may prefer that those dollars stay where they are. That is a personal decision, and no one is required to fill out that form. But we want you to know the option exists, how to find the form, and what it means if you use it. Third, the counties collect a 3% statutory collection fee under Arkansas Code annotated section 14-92-230 for putting the district's assessments on the tax books and collecting them. Under the settlement, though, Sharp County will return 1.5% of the 3% it ordinarily retains to the district, and will do so for 7 years. Fulton County will return 1.5% of the 3% it ordinarily retains, and do that for 6 years. That puts resources back into the district and helps preserve money for operations and maintenance. This will help CBSID's cash flow for future years to come. Fourth, within 30 days after the settlement order is entered, the named plaintiffs will pay off the remaining balance on the settlement-based assessed benefit from the 2021 settlement and the SBAB on the properties they own. They also agree that they will never acquire additional property within the district. That term removes an ongoing financial question involving these properties and prevents the named plaintiffs from acquiring new property that would become part of the district's future assessment base. Put differently, these provisions, while not a guarantee, will materially limit the named plaintiff's ability to sue the district again on similar claims. Fifth, the parties that give one another full and final mutual releases of liability, In ordinary language, claims that were brought and claims that could have been brought based on the matters in this dispute will be put to rest. The release expressly includes claims relating to the 2021 settlement. This is important because the purpose is finality. The district, the plaintiffs, the counties, and the class will not be carrying these same claims forward after the court enters the order, except as necessary to enforce the settlement itself. Sixth, the named plaintiffs will pay the cost of class service. The district is not agreeing to shift those notice costs to property owners. At the hearing set for August 19th, 2026, we expect that only the Owens motion to intervene will be heard unless Mr. Owens withdraws his motion by that time. The district will not speculate about how the court will rule on that motion. The motions for summary judgment and the motion for a temporary restraining order to freeze the district's funding will not be heard. The subpoenas issued to non-parties will be withdrawn. Seventh, there are transparency commitments for property owners. The district will post and display the settlement orders on its website until the SBAB is paid off. Any member may call the district office to learn what members' own amortization schedule. We will make individual amortization information available, including the payment history, what has been applied to principal, and what remains. Owners should not have to guess about their account or rely on word of mouth to understand how the numbers were calculated. Eighth, the settlement will contain provisions that are customary in settlements of this nature. For example, that the CVSID will comply with the statutes applicable to the claims is at issue in this lawsuit and the separate lawsuit brought by one of the named plaintiffs against the mayor. That lawsuit, as a result, case number 25 CV-25-100, will be dismissed as well. The settlement will also contain other provisions agreed upon more thoroughly at the mediation, such as the fact that even with dismissal of case number 25 CV-25-100, CVSID will remain bound to the timeline requirements imposed by the court for filing amended transparency reports. Today, the Commission will take a public vote to ratify the terms already agreed throughout the mediation process. Counsel for all parties will then prepare a proposed settlement order for the judge's consideration. All of the terms we have discussed will be memorialized in whatever order Judge Meyer approves. The order the parties will jointly present to her for entry. The settlement becomes binding upon the court's entry of that order. In other words, tonight's ratification vote is an essential public step, but the court's approved order is what makes the settlement final and enforceable. The board chooses the future over the feud. We are working to move forward, protecting the community's amenities and property values, and protecting the surrounding regional economy for the next generation. We ask you to consider the full picture, the legal risk, the financial risk, the human and economic consequences, and the concrete protections for owners as you listen to the public discussion about this matter in the forthcoming days and months. Thank you very much. Okay. At this moment, after describing to you the terms of the settlement, we are going to take a vote as commissioners to ratify and approve the terms of the settlement. And we will do a roll call vote, please. Mike? Oh, we need someone to make a motion to approve these settlement terms.
I so move.
And I'll second it.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Warricks and seconded by Commissioner Jett to approve the settlement terms as presented. All those in favor of taking this vote signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we've got 100% approval to take the vote today. So at this point, we're going to ratify the terms of this agreement, and we will have a roll call vote for the record, and we will, Mike, I'll let you conduct that.
Stephen Roberts.
As we had taken provisions to see that this does not happen again, my vote would be yes.
Michael Myers. Brent. Brent, I request that the statement that I'm going to read before my vote be entered verbatim into the public minutes of this meeting alongside with my vote. I'm going to read the statement of the property owners. Property owners, here is my statement to you. Let no one mistake my vote today as endorsement of this outcome or a celebration of how we arrived here. The financial reality of this prolonged litigation forced our district into a situation where continuing to fight in court threatened to cripple our operations, destroy your property values, and undermine the broader economic health of all of northern Cherokee County. Folks, I'm voting yes purely out of fiduciary duty. I am voting yes to guarantee our district remains solvent, to ensure that our amenities stay open and operational, meaning our golf courses will not revert back to nature, and the lake or two of ours will not turn into, quote, a mud hole. And quite frankly, to put a decisive end to a deeply damaging chapter so Cherokee Village can finally heal and move forward. Folks, we are moving forward. Mr. Chairman, I vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would also like to echo the sentiments of Commissioner Orix and Commissioner Myers, stating that by getting elected, my plank was to not ever capitulate or settle. But after fully realizing and grasping the financial and economic disaster that was before us, the fiduciary responsibility we have in order to keep the district solvent, to keep the amenities in place, this was the proper route to go, and it was not an easy thing to do. And my vote is yes.
I agree with Mr. Rorks and Mr. Myers and Mr. Hunstead. We have spent a lot of time and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears coming to this agreement, and it kills us all. It's like pulling a hangnail, but we all feel like, we feel like it's important because now we know that our future is stable and that everything that we hope for now has a better chance of coming to happen. So I vote yes to ratify this agreement.
Mr. Smallsmith.
Well, going last, everybody's already pretty much said everything, so I vote yes.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. We have 100% quorum approval and ratification of the issue that is before us today, and we'll move on to the next step. It will become a legal document that the judge will be able to review and ratify, and that will take some time. This isn't quite over. We will be involved in this, not as deep as we have been the past several months, but there is some final dotting of I's and crossing of T's that will happen, and hopefully when it comes before the judge, she will see fit to approve the terms of this without any adjustments or any questions or qualifications. So, Michael, did you have something you wanted to present?
Yes. I'm going to follow up with Brent on you just heard the statement from Brent. Now I'm going to take a few minutes to talk to you directly about one specific part of the settlement that I believe deserves our attention. It's called the Voluntary Payment Declaration Form. It is live on the website right now on the main page. It's a one-page form. Brent explained that under the settlement, covered property owners will receive a benefit through the interest recalculation. More of what you already paid gets applied to your principal for the tax years 2023 to 2026. But he also explained that you have the right to waive that benefit by filling out a voluntary payment declaration form, otherwise known as an opt-out form. I want to walk you through what this form looks like and how to submit it. I have a copy of the form right here. It's a simple one-page document. When the meeting's over, we'll hand out a whole bunch. You can download them off the website right now, district. Second, you're going to check off the boxes for the tax years you want these applied to from 2029 through 2026, or any year you wish, in any form you want, or you can check all. On top of that, then it will ask you to write in a specific dollar amount. Again, if you check all, it's going to do the maximum for every year and every dollar amount for that year. Or again, you can mix and match and just do certain years and only certain amounts. That is your choice. It's one page, your parcels, the years, and your signature. Once you sign it, you are telling the court that your assessment payments for the years or year you selected were made voluntarily. You are waiving any right to a credit for these amounts. It's final at that point. The money you declare as voluntarily paid will not come back in any form under this settlement. To submit the form, you can mail it or you can email it. On the third page of the stapled form is the address to mail it to the law firm or the attorney to email it to. It's got to be postmarked within 60 days after Judge Meyer signs off, which has not happened yet. But you can do it now. We already have some people who've already filled out the form, so they're already coming in. The forms will be available on the website. Like I said, they're live right now, or in the office. If you need help finding your parcel numbers, your lot, block, subdivision, just call the office and they'll help you find it. Now let me explain, as gently as I can, why a property owner might choose to fill this form out. Again, as Brent was saying, the district's operating revenue comes from these assessment dollars. That revenue pays for all the assessments. I don't have to get into that, he already explained it. When the settlement credits are applied to a covered owner's account, the district collects less than the owner will in future years. That's the point of the credit. It is a benefit to the covered owners. But the other side of the coin is that district's income revenue will be reduced by that same amount. So here's the choice in plain terms. If you keep your credit, it is your right to do so. You personally will pay less in future assessments for those covered years. The district absorbs that reduction, meaning we will have less money to work with. If you fill out the form and waive the credit, your assessment payments continue at their current level, and those dollars remain in the district's operating budget, available to maintain the amenities. Neither choice is wrong. It is an individual decision, and every property owner can make it for themselves. Cindy and I, we didn't think about the 5 minutes. We are opting out. I would hope as many of you opt out. I hope our board opts out, and they're on the website. As soon as the meeting's over, we've got forms to hand out. Like I said, they will be at the office, and you can download them on the website. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Myers. Any further comment from any of the commissioners at this time?
Just to be clear, just to make sure this is your opinion on this, not the commission's opinion, just so everybody understands that.
Well,
Yeah, I know. I'm just making sure that was me.
the final sentence was the other was written out.
Okay, at this point, with no other commissioner comments, I would love to receive a motion to adjourn today's special meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Commissioner Stolzman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Vorix. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much all for attending today. This meeting is adjourned. And we got special committee meetings at 4 o'clock, which is 2 minutes away. So when you are signed up to be part of the committee meetings, please stick around and participate in that. We'd love to have your input. Thank you very much for coming today.